America. Six Flags. Not as much traffic as last time, huh? So far, anyway. Let's see. To just glide over. Athens school bus lane might be faster. One more coaster than the last time I was here. B&M dive coaster. Hoping the bus would be quick. I was wrong. As I said, at Kings Island, I always pick the wrong lane. Note to self, do not line up behind school buses when waiting to enter a park. This appears to be a process. What are you doing? Okay. Entrance straight ahead. Seems like everybody's parked on the right. So guess where I go? To the left. You go right, I go left. Seems like a good spot, good enough spot right here. Let's head on in and hopefully ride a new coaster today. Hey guys, Theme Park Mark here. Day 5 of this trip, and I'm back in Chicago where this trip started last Friday evening when I drove to Rockford to start the trip. I'm back in Chicago at this time at Six Flags Great America. This is actually where I filmed my very first vlog last year. I've definitely upgraded my phone since then, so hopefully the quality will be much better than that first vlog. There's a brand new coaster here to ride, and that is Wrath of Rakshasa, which is the new B&M dive coaster, and I'm looking at it right now, and I have seen it go at least a few times since I've been sitting here. I've been looking at some of the other rides as well. See if I can spin you around. There's the view. Haven't seen Raging Bull go yet, but hopefully that opens up today. But yeah, let's go and see what kind of rides we can get in. Gonna try and ride all the major coasters, maybe throw in a couple of flat rides as well today. So yeah, let's head on in. Excited to take you guys along with me for the ride as always. Let's giddy up. So this is the last full solo day of this trip. Rolo will be flying in this evening, and we'll be coming back here tomorrow, as well as going to another park that I've never visited, Bay Beach in Green Bay, to go ride Zippin' Pippin'. But today, Six Flags Great America, probably gonna head towards the new dive coaster first, get the new credit. It's called Wrath of Rakshasa. Rolo has called it Wrath of Rikishi multiple times, which always makes me laugh. Because I did watch wrestling in the early 2000s, and Rikishi was a wrestler for WWF, or WWE.
And he's making the most of it. Hey, I didn't know you could move like that. Don't tell nobody, the camera ain't on me.
So I'm probably just gonna call it that from now on, Wrath of Rikishi. It's actually more fun to say, easier to say. So that's the new name, Wrath of Rikishi. So yeah, let's head on in. Six Flags Great America. Back for the first time in, a year. Look at this. Why do people do this? Let's all stack in one line when there's no one over here. What are you guys doing? 10 seconds later and I'm in the park, while most other people are still standing in line. I don't understand it. Anyway, heading on in, Six Flags Great America. This entrance plaza, very similar to my home park, California's Great America, with this double-decker carousel and the, well, fountains. Used to be, from what I remember anyway, but you have this little pool out front here. I'm headed towards the dive coaster. I'm not exactly certain where the entrance is for it, but I'll walk around and find it, I'm sure. Don't need to pull up the app and the map or anything, at least not yet. So yeah, let's head on in, have a great day, see what rides I can get in. So no Maxx Force today, unfortunately. I hear that it's missing a part, I think, so it's been down for quite a while. So unfortunately, not going to be riding that today. People even call it full throttle too. Not at Magic Mountain. I'm going to continue on to the Flash Pass headquarters, says I'm, of course, having issues with activating the Flash Pass. It's telling me I'm not in the park. It told me it activated successfully, and it's waiting for me to enter the park. Okay, I'm in the park. What the heck is going on? So I'm gonna head that way first. Alright, Flash Pass sorted out at the headquarters. It was not user error this time. Sometimes it is user error on my part. This time, no, it was not my fault. They said, oh, it's been doing this all day. They had to manually activate it. I'm gonna go for a ride on this Schwarzkopf Whizzer. It is an ace landmark. I did try to check Wrath of Rikishi in the app. It was saying closed for the Flash Pass, and it looked like it's a one-time use. So I'm not sure if I just have to wait in the regular line for that or not, but I guess I'll do some of the rides first instead. Not in any hurry to get that coaster credit, but it does look like a good dive coaster. Anyway, let's have a ride on this classic Schwarzkopf Whizzer. Let's go for a row 6 ride on Whizzer. That was a nice ride on Whizzer, the classic coaster. Good for the kiddos anyway. There's a long delay in getting the dispatch because I had to do a bunch of height checks on the little kids that were trying to ride together. I don't know, I don't like operations like that being held up for height checks. Of course, yes, safety, yes, for sure. But I think parks have done it much better with checking the kids' heights up front when they first enter the park, and then assigning out little wristbands to indicate, different colored wristbands to indicate what rides kids can and can't ride in that way. So yeah, that way once the heights are all measured up front for the kids, they just show the wristbands and they're good to go. They don't have to hold up the ride to measure each individual person, so that really slows down operations. So anyway, I also read the fine print on the Wrath of Rakshasa Flash Pass, and reservations are only available from noon to 7, I think, or noon is a time frame, basically noon. So that's probably when I'm going to book that. So for now, I'm going to head into the Southwest Territory, have a ride on Viper and Raging Bull. So that's what's coming up next. Alright, let's go right on Viper, the wooden coaster. built in the same vein as Coney Island Cyclone. Remember, it was running really well last year too. Very enjoyable wooden coaster. Right next to an even better coaster. We'll start with this one, Viper. Walking back through here, the flash pass line of Viper, get nice views of a closed Maxx Force. Front row on Viper. It's a solid ride. I mean, I've ridden a lot of wooden coasters over the course of this trip so far. Of course, Renegade being the best. Yeah, it's a solid ride. Good pops of airtime. It's not rough at all. You can tell that re-track work has been done to it over the course of the years. And the train's pretty comfortable, PTC. And yeah, it's just an overall solid ride. If you love Viper, we'll have to come back for another ride later, but for now, as I said, a much better coaster, one that overshadows this one, and that is Raging Bull. So that's where I'm headed. Wow, the line is out the entrance. They need to open up some cattle pens. Let's have a ride here on this B&M Hyper Raging Bull. Flash passes up the exit, about halfway up the exit, so that's where I'm gonna head. So because the flash pass is about halfway up the exit, I usually try to have 2 or 3 rides on it for efficiency. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. 2 and row 8 on Raging Bull. Front row line was way too long for my taste. So yeah, I got a second row and second to last row. As I've said before, it is my least favorite B&M Hyper, but I do love them all. This is still my second favorite in the park, behind Goliath. And yeah, I mean, all B&M Hypers are just amazing rides, so much fun. Just too much meandering for my taste on this one. Not enough flow to air time, which of course Nitro has all the flow to air time. Anyway, it is just past noon, so I'm gonna book Wrath of Rikishi, Rakshasa, and have my first ride on that, B&M Dive Coaster, so that's coming up. Well, this area looks a whole lot different than the last time I was here. Brand new B&M Dive Coaster, Wrath of Rakshasa, Wrath of Rikishi. And it looks pretty darn good. Just looking at the layout here, it looks really solid. Can't wait to have a ride on this. Wrath of Rikishi, let's have a ride.
I'm all bit nervous.
center ride on Wrath of Rikishi. Sorry, Rakshasa. That was an excellent ride. Just from start to finish. It just packs all the elements in. Inversion after inversion after inversion, then transitions into the helixes. No mid-course break. Just tremendous pacing from start to finish. And yeah, I think it's probably my favorite dive coaster. Just from the one ride. I say it is better than Yukon Striker. Just absolutely blown away by this ride. Very, very good. I'd love to have a second ride on it, but I'll have to wait in the regular line, which is a little bit long for my taste right now. Definitely gonna have to come back for a second ride again tomorrow on this. Maybe even another one today. We'll see if there's time. Wrath of Rakshasa, Wrath of Rikishi. Such an excellent dive coaster. I don't know, it might even be number 1 or 2 in the park for me. I'll have to think about that one though. Anyway, continuing on, more coasters to ride. I think Demon is next, and then I'll probably take a break afterwards before continuing on to xflight, Goliath. There's still many more others to ride here today. I will definitely be coming back for this one though. Time for a ride on Demon. Arrow Looper. Exact same pretty much as the one in my home park, California Great America. Last time I walked through here I remember a theme song playing for it, so we'll see if that's still happening or what. But let's have a ride on Demon. Aw, no theme song today. Bye-bye. That's a nice ride on Demon. Sat near the back. It's okay. Didn't kill me. That's probably the best thing I can say about it. A little bit bumpy, but yeah, not too bad at all. Anyways, up next I'm going to take a quick break, and then as you saw on the POV there, I'm going to ride Sky Striker, which was new for last year. Also xflight. So those are the two coming up next, and I'll work my way over the other side of the park as well. Still amazed by this ride. Alright, break time is over, so how about a B&M wing coaster, xflight? Let's have a ride on this. So it is running one train. I did see a sign out front saying just that due to train maintenance, the wait time will be a little bit longer, so personally, I would not wait in this line. I'm even having a hard time deciding whether I want to ride this with a flash pass. I certainly would not without it. Oh my goodness. This is probably like a 2-hour wait here. Do want to get one ride at least on xflight, so I think I will ride it. Let's go for a back row, left side ride on xflight. back row, left side, outer seat. That's the magic seat on xFlight. That was fantastic. That was my best ride I've ever had on that. I remember last year being on the right side, like mid-train on the outer seat, and I remember being very, very shaky and bumpy. It was not shaky and bumpy today. That was an excellent ride. Love the near misses. Love the first drop, especially in that particular side and that particular seat. I mean, I waited about half an hour or so for it because of the one train operations. Ended up waiting on the stairs, going on up into the station for quite a while. But I mean, it is what it is. You gotta maintain the other train, get that back in working order. So that'll probably be my only ride on xFlight, and it was great, excellent. Moving on, I'm gonna do the pendulum ride, Sky Striker, which was new for last year. One-time use for fast lane on that, just like Wrath of Rikishi. So let's have a ride on Sky Striker next. So let's talk about the baggage system real quick for Wrath of Rikishi. It's very similar to Yukon Striker in the sense that you put your bags in a little cubby that gets onto a little conveyor belt system that goes up and over the loading platform onto the other side, so you can pick them up as you're exiting. So it's a very nice, efficient system. Haven't seen that used too much. There's a system similar at Park Asterix where they bring you the stuff at the exit. Yeah, it's a great efficient system, great way to kind of keep things moving. And here it is, between xFlight and American Eagle is Sky Striker. Zamperla Pendulum opened last year. And Sky Striker is down. Wah, wah. I'll have to come back for it. There's also American Eagle here. I'm gonna skip that for now. It was running one side and it doesn't have a flash pass, so I come back at the end of the day. We'll have to see. Instead, I'm itching to ride this. Goliath. In my opinion, the best coaster in the park. Although Wrath of Rikishi is giving it a run for its money. Let's have a ride on this. Alright, so I just did 3 rides on Goliath, a front row, a row 10, and a row 3. And all it took was the front row ride to remind me that, yes, this is the best coaster in the park. I'd say Wrath of Rikishi is number 2, but yeah, this is just an amazing RMC. Sure, it is on the shorter side, but it definitely packs a punch. Love the dive loop. On row 10, I actually got some floater airtime on the dive loop. The 0G stall is just fantastic. I'm definitely gonna have more rides on this tomorrow, assuming it's open, of course. For right now, I'm gonna take another quick little break, and then we'll continue on. I think Sky Striker is back open, so that will probably be next. And then I'll just continue on finishing up the rest of the coasters here. It's about 4:30, so park closes at 8, so we have about 3.5 hours. See what we can get done in that time. All right, break time is over. It's time for a couple of flat rides. I'm gonna start with Sky Striker. It is reopened. Wanted to do this first because there is a message saying that it closes, I think, an hour or 2 early, so I just want to make sure I get a ride in on this, and then I'll do Fiddlers Fling. And I know Rolo's not going to want to do these tomorrow because, as he says, and I quote, I don't want to do any of those BS flat rides. But I do. So I'll ride Sky Striker followed by Fiddlers Fling, which was back right across from Goliath. So that'll take me over to where the remaining coasters are as well. So let's have a ride on Sky Striker. So just rode Sky Striker, and I think that's probably the best pendulum ride I've ridden. Better than Crazianity anyway. They wouldn't let me wear the glasses even with the straps. That's curious. So no POV that time. That's a bummer. Anyway, yeah, it was still an amazing ride. I'm gonna continue on and do Fiddler's Fling next, and keep going towards the other side of the park. I also ran into a couple fans of the channel. It was nice to meet you guys in the line there with Sky Striker. And if any of you guys see me in a park, feel free to say hi. Always happy to meet new fans here. All right, I just can't help myself. If Fiddler Fling's over here, I'm gonna have another ride on Goliath. Then Fiddler's Fling, and then we'll keep going. I just love this ride. Row 10 on Goliath again. I keep getting that row. Well, got it a couple times. It's because there's a seat that's out of commission, so kind of putting single riders in there, which is perfectly fine, of course. I'm gonna have a ride on this flat ride here, Fiddler's Fling. Remember it being excellent ride. Then we'll continue on going to the DC Universe area after this.
You're the boss.
And the world is still spinning. Fiddlers Fling. It's an extreme scrambler, basically. I would not call that a BS flat ride. Anyway, moving on. I think Flash or Batman is next, if I remember correctly. One of those two. So I'm head finally into the DC Universe area, which is the last area that I have not covered today. There's this Yukon territory, but there's I think it's just a rapid ride here, and some kiddie rides. I remember the kiddie coaster being here, I think. I don't know, my memory's bad. You guys know that. Anyways, to DC. I did forget about Little Dipper. I always forget about it. Rode it my first time here, haven't ridden it since. Seems to be closed anyway, so it makes that decision a little bit easier. I'm now headed into the DC Universe. Since I came to a first Flash Vertical Velocity Infinite Impulse Coaster, rode one just like it the other day at Valley Fair, Steel Venom, except I don't think this one has a holding brake. Maybe it does. I can't remember. Anyway, Flash Vertical Velocity, let's have a ride. No. A row 7 ride on Flash Vertical Velocity, no holding brake, but still an amazing ride. Actually, I'm not a huge fan of the holding brake the other day. It was very jolty when it came to that stop, but you do get some good hang time on that. But here it's more of air time when there is no holding brake, so I think I actually prefer that a little bit more. Anyway, heading on over to Batman the Ride, which is the very first BM invert. The OG. So let's have a ride on that. And remember, there's the entrance, here's the Flash Pass entrance. A heck of a time finding this last time. Alright, Batman the Ride. 1992 and still going strong. I was just a little kid back then. Didn't even know what a roller coaster was. This is the first B&M invert. Just got a back row ride there. On Batman the Ride. We'll have a little cool down here and ride the Wave Swinger next. That is another Yes, flat ride, according to Rolo. But Batman, great ride, still running well. It is called Super Villain Swing. So let's have a ride. Ride on the Super Villain Swing, the wave swinger. You see Aquaman splashdown over here. Is that the log flume that I'm looking at? What was that other water ride over there earlier? Was that even a ride? I'm not sure. You guys tell me. I'm not familiar with the water rides here, but I might have a ride on this either today or tomorrow. But I'm not risking the glasses getting soaked, so they're gonna go in the pocket. Alright, so we have an SNS 40 free spin here, the Joker. All right, moving on. You guys know me, I don't like these. I'm gonna continue on to Superman, which I think is the last major coaster that I want to ride. There's also Dark Knight, which is that indoor Wild Mouse-ish coaster. I'm not really a fan of that. Yeah, let's have a ride on Superman, B&M Flying Coaster. Hey, there is a Rapids ride here. Roaring Rapids? What's going on with the water rides here? There are 3 of them? I'll have to look that one up. Anyways, continuing on to Superman, B&M Flying Coaster. Just started walking through there like a dope. How do you find Flash Pass, Mark? I think you follow the signs.
We will take your ride. We drop it on low. So when you're short, you start down low. Goodbye.
Superman Ultimate Flight. Yeah, pretzel loop's so intense. I was actually gonna try and fly like Superman there at the start. Decided not to. If anybody else tried that, probably can't be too comfortable with the way the restraints are. Yeah, I mean, these are generally enjoyable. I'm wearing a tattoo shirt, so I might as well ride on the B&M flying coaster here. The rest of the ride, very graceful, very smooth, mostly comfortable. Still not a fan of that whole flying coaster position. Much rather prefer fly at Fantasyland, Vekoma, the new Vekoma anyway. Much more comfortable loading position. You're not dangling on the brake run. Didn't do that today because on one train, so that was actually bearable. Anyways, that's it for the remaining coasters here. I have about an hour left before the park closes, so I think I'm just gonna go lap Raging Bull for the next hour, see how many rides I can get on that. And I'll wrap things up here. Six Flags Greatamerica, day 1. Once again, I'm reminded, no max force. But I think I will put in a front row POV from one of my previous visits here, so enjoy. Wow, I forgot about another flat ride tucked away back here. Scrambler. Called Hometown Fun Machine. I'm gonna have a ride on this since I think this does classify as a BS flat ride for Rolo. So I'm definitely gonna ride this right now.
Alright, so there, somebody.
Good classic scrambler, and these Whizzer is loud. I love the scrambler rides. Of course, that was a much milder version than Fiddlers Fling earlier. Well, of course, that's not a scrambler, but scrambler-like anyway. Alright, gonna continue on to Raging Bull. I think I might be able to squeeze in 2 rides. About a half hour left. Some more rides on Raging Bull next. There we go, Raging Bull.
Oh yeah. That ending has still been. Oh my goodness. Outlaw Run and $7 City we did one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've only done it once.
I did that front row at night. That was insane. You're just dropping into nothingness.
What part?
I'm from California.
California?
Yeah. Northern California. Okay.
Yeah, we chose the stations now.
Yeah.
$7 City was like 4 years old and we went on the first.
Okay. Love Silver Dollar City.
Six Flags St. Louis slash the whole
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Boss.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So rough. That is an impressive structure, American Eagle. I just did 2 rides on Raging Bull, a row 3, and a back row ride, and that is packed full of ejector air on the back road. Jeez, you really get almost yanked out of your seat. Of course, I'm still a sucker for floater air, so sorry Raging Bull, you're still my least favorite being in my park, but I still love you nonetheless. Anyway, that'll wrap things up here from day 1 at Six Flags Great America. Yeah, just an amazing day. Pretty much did every major coaster, just not this one right here. Might do that tomorrow, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, thanks so much guys for watching. As always, coming up next tomorrow for me, next week for you, is going to be Bay Beach. My first ever visit to that park. I'm just going to swing on up there, ride Zippin' Pippin', and come back to this park for even more craziness. So stay tuned for that. And with that, signing off, Six Flags Great America. Take care, guys. Oh yeah, and shout out to the coaster enthusiasts that I rode with on the last couple rides there. It was great chatting with them. My last ride, I was trashing his home park. Saying Kennedy Lake is not great. I'll be there next week. I'll check it out anyway. All right, signing off again. I'll be back for you tomorrow, Wrath of Rikishi. For now, I'm gonna grab some merch. Oh, madness is about to begin.